You deleted the app. You thought that was it. But your data is still out there, alive, growing, and being traded like currency. Even if you've gone off the grid, your digital shadow didn't get the memo. In this video, we're going to unpack what actually erases your presence and what just gives you a false sense of control. Chapter 1: The Illusion of Control. When people get fed up with a platform, the first instinct is to uninstall it. Maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's Instagram, or even something as boring as a shopping app. The reasoning is simple. If it's not on your phone, it's not in your life. But that's not how it works. You deleted the app, not your data. And in the world we have built, the app was just the messenger. The real story is what's left behind. Let's start with the basics. Most apps don't hold your data on your device. They store it on remote servers in massive cloud infrastructures that are built to retain, replicate, and monetize your interactions. When you tap delete, you're just severing the visual interface. Your user profile, your browsing patterns, your contacts, your purchases, they remain. Sometimes for years, sometimes forever. And it gets more disturbing. In many cases, deleting your account doesn't even delete your data. Companies will say they deactivate your profile or they retain data for legal or safety reasons. But behind the scenes, your information often gets siloed into data warehouses, anonymized, maybe, and bundled with millions of others into something called behavioral data sets. These are then sold to brokers who don't care who you are, they care what you do. That's the real economy here. It's not about you as a person, it's about you as a pattern, your choices, your habits, your fears, the things you hovered over but didn't click, the products you looked at twice but never bought, the times of day you scroll, the speed at which you swipe. This data forms a ghost version of you that persists long after you're gone. And what's even more frustrating is how invisible this process is. You don't get a receipt. You don't get a confirmation email that says, hey, your data is still being used in 15 different ad models. The system is built to run quietly, out of sight, and because you can't see it, you assume it's gone. Here's where it gets technical but important. Even if you wipe your account, that deletion request has to travel through multiple layers: app layer, platform layer, backend storage, caching systems, third party integrations. Most services are stitched together from APIs and SDKs provided by external companies. These extensions often gather their own data, sometimes even more than the core app does, and they don't always honor the deletion request because they're not really working for you. They're working for themselves. So you can quit an app, but if that app was using a third party tracker that sent your data to a broker in the background, your deletion won't touch it. Your data lives on. Sometimes unlinked from your name, sure, but often still connected to your device ID, IP address, or even a hashed version of your email that can still be decoded with enough motivation. And if you think switching devices helps, think again. Unless you also changed your network patterns, your voice profile, your biometric signals, and a bunch of other less obvious identifiers, systems can often re identify you with stunning accuracy. Researchers call it re identification attacks, and they've proven time and again that even anonymized data isn't really anonymous. Let's pause there for a second, because that's a lot, and it's uncomfortable, but it's not hopeless. There are ways to regain control, real control, not just the illusion of it. And in the next chapter, we'll break those down. But first, it's important to understand the game, because deleting the app is like walking out of a casino thinking you beat the house just because you didn't lose today. Meanwhile, the cameras are still rolling and your face is still on file. Let's talk about how to actually disappear. Chapter 2: What Deletion Really Takes. Let's get into the hard truth. If you want to actually disappear, you don't start with the app. You start with the data trails you have been leaving behind for years, often unknowingly. Because the internet isn't a clean slate every time you open it. It's a spider web of identifiers, connections, and systems that remember, not because they care about you, but because remembering you makes money. So, what does real deletion look like? First, you need to know where your data actually is. That means going beyond the app and looking into the backend services and trackers that feed off it. Websites like Privacy Spy, Terms of Service, Didn't Read, or Exodus Privacy give you a peek into what's really going on under the hood. You will find dozens of trackers in apps you thought were harmless: weather apps, flashlight apps, step counters. Step 2: go directly to the source. That means putting in a formal data deletion request with the company, not just deleting your account. Under laws like the GDPR in Europe or CCPA in California, companies are legally required to honor deletion or at least explain what they keep and why. It's not perfect, but it's a start. And most people never even ask. Companies bank on that. So ask. But even if you get your data deleted from one company, that doesn't cover the third party data brokers who may have already scraped or bought it. This is where things get ugly. There are hundreds of data brokers out there, some of them legit, many of them shady, and you've probably never heard of most. Names like Axiom, CoreLogic, Oracle Data Cloud, ID Analytics, they collect everything from your browser history to your property records to your purchase receipts. Then they build models, risk scores, political profiles, location heat maps. Here's the kicker: you didn't give these brokers permission directly. They got your data through other services you used: loyalty cards, mobile games, credit applications, social media ads. And while they're required in some regions to let you opt out, they don't make it easy. They bury the links. They require snail mail. They make you prove your identity, which is ironic when they already know everything about you. So here's what you do: go to sites like Optry, Delete Me, or Canary. These services help you send opt out and deletion requests to the major data brokers. You can do it manually if you want, but it's tedious. These tools help automate the process, though some charge a fee. Still, the payoff is that you actually start shrinking your digital footprint in places that matter, not just the flashy apps on your phone. Now, let's talk about devices. Your phone is leaking data all day long. From Bluetooth beacons to Wi Fi triangulation to motion sensors, it's constantly generating metadata about your behavior. If privacy is the goal, start with your settings. Turn off ad personalization, limit background app access, disable location sharing unless absolutely necessary. Use a VPN, not to be anonymous, but to reduce tracking consistency. Also consider changing your DNS to something like NextDNS or Cloudflare 1.1.1.1 for additional privacy filtering. And then there's the web itself. Use privacy respecting browsers like Brave or Firefox with enhanced tracking protection. Stop using Google as your default search engine. Try DuckDuckGo or Coggy instead. These changes aren't about paranoia, they're about tipping the balance back in your favor. Right now, the web is designed to remember you. You have to actively make it forget. But the most important part: stop feeding the system new data. That means rethinking how you interact online. Do you really need that store account? Could you check out as a guest? Do you really need to fill out every field? Could you give partial information? Privacy isn't a switch, it's a habit. And just like any habit, it takes time to build. You can't erase every trace of yourself from the internet, but you can make it harder for systems to track you. You can reduce your exposure. You can stop being a passive participant in your own surveillance, but it requires effort and awareness and knowing what you're up against. In the final chapter, we'll go one level deeper because even if you do everything right, there's one last piece of the puzzle that matters more than all of it. And it's the part most people ignore. Chapter 3: You are the algorithm. Let's get uncomfortably honest. Even if you delete the app, submit every data removal form, and unsubscribe from every newsletter. There's one thing left that still feeds the machine: you. Not just your actions, your behavior, your thoughts, your patterns, and those are harder to uninstall. We have built a digital world where personalization isn't just a feature, it's the entire product. Every time you use the internet, your behavior trains a model. What you click, what you pause on, what you ignore. And that model doesn't live in one place. It's not just Facebook or TikTok or Amazon. It's a distributed system of assumptions about who you are based on everything you've done, even outside of your own devices. And here's the twist most people miss: a lot of what defines your digital presence isn't even your own data. It's the inferences systems draw by comparing you to others, your friends, your neighbors, people with similar interests. You may have deleted your Spotify account, but your tastes are already part of a cluster. When someone new listens to the same artists, the system brings your ghost back into play, like a digital echo. This is how predictive modeling works. You don't need to be present to influence outcomes. That's why data privacy isn't just about stopping leaks, it's about disrupting the cycle of training. If a machine can predict you before you act, then it doesn't need to spy on you directly. It just needs to understand people like you. And the only way to break that loop is to act unpredictably. Seriously. Change your habits, take weird paths, mute autoplay, skip recommendations. Don't scroll the way they expect you to scroll. The goal isn't to be random, it's to regain agency. Predictability is the fuel of surveillance. The less predictable you are, the harder it is to profile you. This brings us to the idea of data minimalism, not just reducing what you give, but rethinking what you need. Do you need to log in? Do you need to sync every device? Do you need to train the algorithm for convenience when that convenience is being weaponized to manipulate you? Take email, for example. Most people use the same address for everything: newsletters, bank logins, shopping, petitions, travel bookings. That makes it easy for companies to create a 360-degree view of you. But you can break that. Use email aliases, create segmentation, compartmentalize your identity online the way you do in real life. You don't introduce yourself to your doctor, your boss, and your ex with the same tone, same clothes, same behavior. So why act the same on every platform? Then there's psychological resistance. A lot of people don't change because they think it's too late. They already have everything. But that's not how data works. The system is constantly refreshing. What matters most is what it learns today, not what it learned in 2017. You can't erase the past, but you can distort the future. Every change you make now, every app you resist, every prompt you skip, bends the model just a little off course. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be uncertain. That's the only thing machines struggle with. Not ignorance, not absence, but inconsistency. Because inconsistent data is expensive to model and bad for business. This is why deleting the app doesn't delete you. Because the app isn't the only channel. You are a signal. And if you want to disappear, you need to stop broadcasting, or at the very least, change the frequency. Here's the final thought: the point isn't to live in fear, it's to live with intention. The system isn't going away, but neither is your ability to challenge it. You don't need to vanish, you need to be aware, because the less visible your choices are to them, the more visible they become to you. Thanks for watching. Check out the references in the description to explore further.